Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to No Rewind.
Welcome back.
Today is episode 3, and first off, wanted to say we're already making changes to the look of everything, which is exciting. We've already learned a good amount, so things look different. Wave. Yeah, ride the wave. But today, we are talking about the one and only Branson Moody. Cheers.
Yeah, dude. We need to get that.
We just need an app.
We're gonna have some fun out here.
Like hit the app.
True.
Right now. But yeah, so on last episode we talked a little bit more about my story. Today we're talking about this man's story, and I figured the best way to start this out. I already asked him this yesterday, so he could give the best answers
Dude, I didn't
possible.
even think about it, but we'll still be fine.
Okay, if you had to pick for a night out 3 famous people or anybody. But we could just do famous people. Pick 3 people that best, describe you. Who would those people be? So it's you and 3 others, so 4-person dinner.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple no-brainers. At least one no-brainer. John Mayer.
Yep.
Yeah. You know that. I love that dude. So, John. Donald Miller.
Okay.
He's an author.
Yep.
And the guy that created story brand marketing, which is really cool.
Yep.
Man, I honestly don't have the third
The
person.
third one's hard.
The third person, dude.
I got it down to 2 because when I was thinking about this, I was like, what would mine be? I got it down to 2, but the third is hard.
Yeah.
Just throw out a name.
Ooh. Francis Chan.
Oh, good one. Okay.
Yeah.
That's an interesting, I like that.
Yeah, I love Francis Chan.
That's a good, interesting collection of people. Those conversations would be interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
John probably like it. He'd be like,
True.
this is different.
Yeah. Cool.
No, yeah, that would be John Mayer I love the dude, just his story is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. But for the musician side of him, but also I feel like he's been silly and then had to recover from that as a person, and he had kind of a bad rep, but then he did his show called Current Mood. Okay. And I feel like that was a little bit of a reputation recovery, because he actually was open about not perfect guy.
Yeah, that's cool. Just a lot of real life experience.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
Donald
cool.
Miller, I read his book, Business Made Simple, and I've followed him on social media for a long time. And I love just what he puts out there. He loves his family. He's got strong, really great values. And but Business Made Simple, I read 37 pages of that book, and it changed my life. And then I finally
You're putting me on
finished it
blast because you bought me that book and I still haven't read it. So.
Yeah. You need to read it. Everyone needs to read that book. Yeah. And then Francis Chan, I did a series with my Bible study in college that was the Book of James, and Francis Chan walked through that. That's and cool. It was awesome.
That's sick.
So I have so much respect for that guy. It's not even funny.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, since you're already pulling back and reaching back into the archives of your life, let's go a little further.
Uh-oh.
And just give people what was Branson like as a kid, just synopsis of childhood.
Yeah, man, childhood. I honestly feel like I had the craziest childhood, and yeah, my parents divorced before I even remember, so I don't have any memories of them being married, which I think is a good thing, because I don't remember the divorce, and I don't have this memory that I miss that I wish existed for my whole life. I just kind of grew up knowing it, and I feel like that divorce actually really shaped me in a lot of ways. So I feel as a kid I lived a double life a little bit, because I was Branson in Washington Courthouse, who could ride his bicycle everywhere, and I was saving up my quarters to get Little Caesars, and I was that kid here. And then I would go to my dad's, and at some point he lived in a small town where I had a whole other group of friends, and they all lived on the same street, Clinton Avenue, and we were all really close. And then my dad moved, and everybody moved off that street, and that was weird. And so that was like, but then when I was with my dad, my babysitter lived on a farm, and so I was like a farm boy.
That's crazy.
And yeah, you can't even
I can't picture
it now.
that.
But dude, I remember like we would go get the toads out of the creek, and we built a dam across the creek at some point. And
That's fun.
I jumped on a 90cc dirt bike and about killed myself on that thing because I let off the clutch super fast.
What is childhood without those stories?
Dude, yeah, seriously. And it's so cool because like I genuinely, like I lived a double life as a kid in like kind of the best way.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like that's like that second life that I lived, I still feel like most people don't really know about it. That,
Yeah,
like,
you told me you drove a combine when we were driving up to Columbus, and I was like, wait, why?
oh yeah. Yeah. And like I have such fond memories of those people in those times. Like my buddy Colin was the farmer that, like, I remember when I was a kid, I felt like when I was really young, first started going there, I was like an outcast. And at some point, Colin like brought me in, and his older brother Shane, and like I just remember those guys. I looked up to them a ton. And then when Colin got older, he was able to like farm, and he brought me out on the combine. I thought it was the coolest thing.
So cool.
And
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I have so many core memories with him, and I honestly long for like some of that back. Like I miss living where I could hop on a 4-wheeler and mess around, and like I miss living in the country in that sense.
Yeah.
Because of those like core memories and that like second half of my childhood.
Yeah.
But yeah, so growing up, my parents like lived an hour and a half away. My mom moved back to Washington Courthouse, where she was from, and like my great grandpa was here. So that's kind of cool. I'm glad I'm here because of that like lineage. Cool. So my great grandpa had the John Deere dealership that was in Bloomingburg.
That's
and
cool.
At some point he like owned a lot of real estate up there and was like just a great guy that people knew up there. Yeah. And then my great grandpa ran that dealership, ended up selling it, whatever. But the lineage is like here. So I'm kind of glad that my mom came back here. That's but cool. My dad lived up by Marysville and worked at Marysville Honda.
Okay.
So I would spend like basically I would have a week with my dad, or I would be with my mom through the week for the school year. In the summer, this would reverse.
Yeah.
But I would be with my mom through the week, and then I would go to my dad's for a full weekend, which was Friday night through Sunday night.
Okay.
And then the next weekend would be a half, so Saturday morning through Sunday night. So I'd get Friday night at my mom's.
Okay.
Then the next weekend was a full weekend at my dad's.
That's a lot of
Friday
scheduling.
night through Sunday. Yeah, it was. And kudos to my mom and dad for, I mean, that would be hard to keep. I don't know how they did that.
Yeah,
I'm like,
crazy.
I can't imagine every single Friday or Saturday morning and then every single Sunday driving. Like, and sometimes they would meet in the middle. Sometimes my mom would take me there, and then my dad would take me home. But
it's like having a real life assistant.
That's like a lot of driving.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
So and then I would have one weekend home with my mom. So it was like a 4-week cycle.
Okay.
Which was like amazing and horrible simultaneously, because like my friends' birthday parties would be on a weekend that falls on my dad's weekend, and it's like, sorry guys, my dad's that weekend, I can't be there. Yeah. And I missed out on a lot because of that. Yeah. But I also like had this second kind of oasis is how it felt, because, and I feel like I literally long for that now, where it's like when I leave Washington Courthouse for a week and then come back, I feel so different. And I think a lot of people feel that way, but I do feel like it ties back to this fact that like I would have my city life and then I'd have my quiet life. Yep. And it was like I grew up with that rhythm. The other like good thing about that was it meant that I was in a car 3 hours every weekend. And sometimes I was in the car with my mom and my hero of a stepdad, Don, and we would be listening to like 97.9 pop music, and then Don would be like, all right, time to rock it out on 96.3, and it's like AC/DC is on now. So I would like be listening to Gwen Stefani and then AC/DC with my mom and stepdad, and then with my dad and my awesome stepmom, Jan, we would listen to like with my dad, before he married Jan, we would listen to, and still after, but like this was all we listened to before. It was like Toby Keith and Keith Urban, Kenny Chesney.
So different vibes.
Totally different vibes. And then I remember like, oh, what's the band? Rascal Flatts. They're kind of back. Dude, Rascal Flatts
Life
was
is a
always
Highway.
jamming with my dad, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Even before Life is a Highway.
That's
like,
cool.
I remember when that came out because I was
That's
listening to their other stuff,
That's cool.
as a kid.
Okay, so then what would you say your first love musically? Who is that? Like band, song?
Tim McGraw.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, actually,
interesting.
My dad, I think the music influence early on was my dad in the car.
Okay.
And because music was more of like a focus point in the car with my dad. Like it was CDs, it was tapes. In my mom's car, it was the radio.
Okay.
So, and it was less of a focus, I would say. And that could just be my memory being a little silly too. I don't know. But my dad always had the CDs and tapes, and it was like, I remember Tim McGraw, Live Like You Were Dying, and I could sing that song like right now with my eyes shut. And some of those songs like actually make me super emotional just because of like current kind of life circumstances and stuff. And then the memories attached of like just some of those songs. It's like, dang, like, whew, takes me back to a spot.
Did you jump into like playing music, making music right away, or is there some time before that evolution happened?
Yeah, there's some time.
Okay.
It wasn't until, well, yeah, I mean, as a kid, I feel like I was pretty dumb, to be honest. Like when I look back, I like wasn't the kid that could like kind of pick up a guitar when I was in second grade. Nah, that wasn't me. I was not there. I would play video games, and I was actually diagnosed depressed at like a really young age, like very bad. I also like would sing, but wouldn't consider myself a singer. And then I also wasn't like athletic because I grew up with like horrible asthma. Like I was the kid that was on the breathing treatment 3 times a day, and I was super allergic to all kinds of stuff. So even like horses is my biggest allergy. And I remember as a kid almost dying. And so like, I say that because like my lung support wasn't there. And I feel like the depression and like the asthma that was really bad and these really bad allergies as a kid, like kind of clouded everything,
that makes sense.
And I don't know. I think back to it. I'm like, dude, like, I don't know really how I went from where I was to here. Yeah. Like I don't suffer with asthma as much anymore.
That is crazy.
Yeah. And it was bad, dude. It was like breathing treatment 3 to 4 times a day and like desperate situations multiple times.
No sports then?
No, I did end up getting into like baseball a little bit.
Okay.
I would struggle though. Like I remember I got into football in 5th and 6th grade, and dude, I was honestly like massive. I was like bigger than everyone else at that age, and was pretty like I could be good at football, but the asthma soiled it. And like I remember one time I don't know if it was because of a false start or if I got in trouble for something outside of the sport, but in football, like my coach punished me and made me do this, like I had to do a certain run, and I literally collapsed from an asthma attack. And there was a guy there who he knew me well enough to know before the asthma attack happened, and it wasn't my mom. My mom was just panicked. Yeah. But this guy grabbed the inhaler and sprinted to me and probably saved my life. And then
dude, that's
like
crazy,
I remember, dude, it was bad. And that coach didn't care at all. Like, so and then that same coach, and I don't know him now, but I know of him well enough to say like I think he's a good guy, and I think just like this is kind of just how it is sometimes in sports. But like I just felt like he didn't care, and it was like I literally was like medically asthma was bad.
Dude, that's
like
crazy,
my mom. And I remember we went to McDonald's, and my mom like she like literally like had this anxiety attack release and like spewed in the car, and it was like it was bad. Yeah. So I wasn't super into sports. I would play baseball a little bit, but I was always like 2 steps behind everybody because I wasn't a runner, and like my asthma, like even running from first base to second base was like a big deal for me.
That makes sense.
And I don't know why. I think honestly a lot of it probably was like that childhood depression and anxiety that was like make me freak out, and then I couldn't breathe. Yeah. But also it's just like my mom had allergies and stuff growing up and asthma too. Yeah. So, but anyways, music to me wasn't something that really clicked, but I do remember like I was always attracted to it. I loved listening to it, singing to it. It was like a safe haven for me. And I had a neighbor at my dad's, Ken and Bev, and they're awesome. But Bev like showed me just a little bit on piano when I was young,
cool.
and I was like really into it. She would let me mess with her piano.
That's cool.
And then my stepdad, Don, his son Dustin, had a guitar that had this built-in speaker on it. And I would just mess with that thing. And like that was probably when I was in second or third grade that they gave me that, but I couldn't do anything on it. But the moment that music became something that I was like into was when Transformers 1 came out, dude.
Yes,
and Linkin
dude.
Park, bro. That dun, 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 you know. And I
Fantastic
like,
movies. I just rewatched them all recently. Fantastic.
dude, I watched maybe a month, or no, not a month ago, like a year ago. I watched Transformers 1 again. It was like, dude,
It's insane.
it's so good.
What movies got worse since that came out?
They overdo CGI or whatever. But anyways, like that guitar
that
part,
did it for you.
and I learned it by ear on that guitar
That's crazy.
in my basement. I would just mess with it and so that's when I was like, wait, this could be like, I'm kind of into this. And then I remember Christmas was coming up, and my dad took me to this guitar shop, and there was like this beginner's kit. And so that's what I wanted for Christmas. And my dad got me that, and that's like kind of where I started playing guitar.
Cool.
And was definitely into it. And yeah, my parents were like super supportive.
That's awesome.
My mom ended up getting me like a Fender. I really want a Fender because my uncle, like my mom's sister's husband, right, he had a Fender, and he told me all about Fenders and Jimi Hendrix, and I was like, oh, dude, Fender guitars, you know? And I remember the day I got that thing. It's this sick red. I still have it somewhere.
You do?
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
sick.
Yeah, I should have brought it on, you know? But it was just red Fender made in Mexico. Like my mom probably spent every extra dollar she had to buy me this thing. And
Dude, we got to display that in the studio.
yeah, I know. I need to get it. I need to dig it out. It's somewhere.
That's sick.
Yeah, I never sold it. My cousin Braden might have it. Hey, Braden, if you have it, let me know. No, so yeah,
that's awesome.
Like, that's kind of where music started. But in a weird way, like I credit a lot of my love for music to these 3-hour car rides every weekend, because music, like at that time, dude, in the car as a kid, music was all we had, you know?
So we might be jumping ahead. So if there's anything in between that. So guitar, we're picking it up. What made you go to school for it? And is there anything in between that like was pivotal in just life or music specifically?
Yeah. We can dive into music even more. Yeah, that's, man, like music.
But if you want to talk about anything but music, anything else, we can.
Yeah, we'll get there, you know? But music was like literally my therapy.
Yeah.
And for, you know, I can't pin down what happened or why or whatever, but at some point in elementary school, I started to be like the number one target for bullying. And like I had some guys in my grade that I thought were so cool that were like good at sports and all this stuff, and I became the target. And it literally was like I was friends with them, and then like I remember watching South Park, hanging out, friends with all these guys, and I was like, this is sick. And then like the next day I was the target. I probably did something dumb as a kid that they didn't like. And
No,
they were like,
they were just being
who knows?
tools.
But so then like go to middle school, and I'm behind everybody in baseball. That was kind of the only sport that I stuck with because I was traumatized by my football coach. And so I stuck with baseball and I loved it. But I was also young for my grade. Okay. And like 7th grade hit, and I was still in Little League. Everybody else was moving on. So then when 8th grade hit, I was a year behind my classmates. And it just didn't make sense for me to keep playing, which sucked. But also I was like, yeah. You know, I actually think I could have been good at baseball, but I wasn't. So middle school was rough. I felt like I would get picked on a lot. And it was a lot of both, like chasing girls, like middle school. I was an idiot in middle school, but I would get picked on. I sucked at sports. I was behind on all the sports. And the guitar was the only thing that was like, I'm your best friend every day. And I played so much freaking guitar, bro, that like there was a day that, and it was before, maybe it was when I was learning bass. But I played so much guitar that I woke up one morning and my shoulder hurt so bad that I couldn't lift my arm, and I didn't go to school because I was playing guitar all day with my guitar up. So that I was like literally obsessed.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, it was all I did.
Wow.
And like, it's funny because my mom still is like, if I'm having a bad day, she'll ask me, "Did you play guitar?"
That's cool.
And because I would come home from school, especially in high school, when I was like better at playing. Because in middle school, I'm just like, I'm having a bad day and I'm learning how to play Jason Mraz.
Yeah.
Because it's just like whatever I'm learning at the time.
Yeah.
But then when I got in high school, I started to be a little bit better of a player, and could like play the blues, or I could play like Jack Johnson, I would like go to my basement and jam. And my mom would say she could tell how my day went when she got home based on what music I was playing.
That's
so
cool.
if it was a bad day, I'm shredding Maggot Brain, and my guitar is so freaking loud, dude. And Funkadelic is cranked on my old computer speakers. I'm jamming along, you know? So
that's awesome.
Like that. So that is like, I say all of that to say like music became literally everything to me. And then thankfully, like, I had an awesome teacher in middle school. She got me into swimming, and I think when I started swimming through high school, that became my sport, and I got a lot of confidence out of that. I lost a lot of weight. I learned how to breathe. Like I literally feel like it trained my lungs.
Just about to say, because you go from having an asthma attack to potentially drowning, so that was like the breathing got better.
Yeah.
You were able to swim.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had to learn how to breathe. And I remember I was really struggling with it. And then there was a song that was the perfect tempo that we were learning in band when I was in middle school. Like it was like a song, like a march or something, but it was in 3/4 time. And if I breathed every other stroke, so one, breathe,
That's cool.
then I would, like, if I did that, I would breathe too much. Okay. And I would like, you know, what's it called when you're like
hyperventilating?
Yeah, almost hyperventilate while swimming. And then if I tried to do every 4, my lungs weren't getting enough, and it was like a struggle. But there was this song that was in 3/4, so I learned to breathe like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, you know, and switch sides.
What was your best stroke?
Freestyle, and I got into butterfly, and yeah, butterfly was pretty fun, but I got disqualified once, and I gave up on it. At districts, disqualified at districts for how I turned.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, it sucked. I think what happened is one of my arms lagged, and they hit the turn. They have to hit at the same time.
That's
and
right.
so I think I deserved to get disqualified. You know?
Oh, okay.
I messed it up.
Okay.
It is what it is. But the 200 freestyle was my main thing.
Okay.
And this is all going to circle back to music somehow. But
we'll get there.
But that boosted my confidence, and like it did a lot for me. And then at that point, it's like, wow, I can sing now because I have more lung support. And then I got more into singing, and I really wasn't good. And and it was kind of this journey through high school. But music was literally like my everything.
That's cool.
Like if I dislocated my shoulder, I was like, how am I going to play guitar? Not how am I going to swim? How am I going to work? Like there's more important things. But I was like, how am I going to play guitar? That's cool. All I cared about. So yeah, music's it's huge, you know, for me. And then,
and we're back. Okay. The question was from the guitar.
Yep.
What got you
to study music?
Yeah. To go into school for it.
Yeah. So, and for those of you who don't know, I went to Ohio University. So I'm a Bobcat. So shout out to my fellow Bobcats. I loved OU and I miss OU, and I love that place. But I studied music production and recording, and I minored in business. And
I didn't know you minored in business.
Yeah, thankfully.
Interesting.
I didn't plan on doing anything business related, but thankfully OU actually requires, if you have a degree in the School of Communications like that, it was required that you get a minor. And so, or double major. I tried to double major in composition. My biggest regret in my musical life is not learning how to read sheet music on piano. And when I tried to double major in composition, they were like, can you read sheet music and play the piano? And I was like, no. And they were like, well, you're not good enough for us. So I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm going to be the next Hans Zimmer, baby.
Honestly, I wouldn't put it past you.
Nah, I can't do that. I wish. Maybe. You know, who knows what's ahead. So, but I went to OU, music production recording, forced into minoring in something, chose business, praise God. But what led to that, basically, like, in high school, I was in a band called Derailed. We started this band. It was fun. Somebody else joined the band, and we'd, like,
It's a good name,
this
by the
guy
way.
was more of a writer. I wasn't a writer yet, and I still wish I was a better writer. It's like, that's my biggest weakness
Okay.
in music.
Shut up. You are a good writer. I've heard some of the stuff. It's good.
Only one song's worth listening to.
It's
but
good.
anyway, I wish I was more of a writer. And I honestly still hope to do it. You know, I really do. I hope to be able to, like, write an album and cut it and, like, it feel good and feel like me. But so this other guy was jumping into writing, wrote these songs, and they were not my thing. I'll just say it. They weren't my thing. They were, like, way heavier than me, like borderline getting into screaming stuff, like screamo. And I know a lot of people love that, and that's sick, but it wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
And then we went to record. I heard the recordings, and I was like, this is not me. And so in the midst of that, I did think it was cool. Like, I thought the recording process was cool. I was like, we set up in this place called the Warehouse where I, like, played live, and where that was a pretty important place for me in high school. It was, like, where I could kind of get on a stage and rock out, and
That's
like,
cool.
It was a fun thing. But we recorded in there with a guy who was awesome, but the music just wasn't my thing. And but I really looked up to the fact that we were able to record, and he had this little unit, and, like, I was like, oh, dude, hooking up microphones, and, like, I see how this is kind of working. I was into it, you know. So simultaneously at that time, I was just started dating Haley, who is my beautiful girlfriend that I love.
She's great.
She's awesome. And so we just started dating, and her brother Cameron was someone that musically I always looked up to. And I joined Cameron to play some music. And I'll never forget the day that I was, like, asked to come audition for Cameron, and his dad was there, and Bill Chatfield was there. And that was the day I met Bill Chatfield.
No way,
bro.
dude.
Yeah, and I love Bill Chatfield so much. So that was the day I met him, and he was set up with a drum set. Cam was set up with his piano, vocals, and keyboard. Keyboard, vocals, and speakers, whatever. And I showed up with my Les Paul and my amp, and I was like, I brought everything, dude. I was like, this is it, dude. This is the audition, you know? And I always looked up to Cam growing up. Like, he was able to play piano and sing, and everybody would lose their mind. And I would play guitar and sing, and everybody would lose their mind for the wrong reasons,
crazy.
bro. So I was like, dude, this is sick. And that was more like my music. It was like poppier, like we like the Fray, the Killers. We did, like, all the things I've done by the Killers, and I love that song, dude. It was just more my speed.
Yeah.
So I heard this music that I was working on with Derailed, and I was just like, And there's a whole bunch of drama. You know how high school is, bro.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of drama. I quit.
Dude, what do you mean? High school is the best time of our lives.
I know. Yeah. I would go back. It was a lot easier. But
You couldn't pay me enough money.
oh, dude, I would go back for sure.
No
I miss not being
shot.
responsible. I miss being the basement band guy, and, like, it was fine, you know. But I mean, I like life. We're good. So, but yeah, I joined Cam, and then, like, I don't even remember what happened. Like, he had a microphone and he had an interface, but he didn't, like, know how to record yet or something, or he was just learning. And I was like, dude, let's do this. I'll, like, learn.
Okay.
And we recorded "Sinking Deep," which is a beautiful song.
I don't know if I've heard that.
You don't know that song? Colton Dixon, I think. Is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Okay.
Your love so deep. So, I don't remember how it goes.
Was it on, like, Christian radio?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, then I heard
but yeah, Cam could play that song with his eyes shut, and it was beautiful. And so we recorded that, and it was like, I really enjoyed recording it. I was like, this is sick, dude. And so I got really into it, and I was like, dude, Cam, I'll, like, record for you.
Okay.
And then his dad had a friend named Jim, who I seriously miss, but Jim had this studio in Lancaster, like an hour and a half away. And we somehow ended up going there quite a bit with Bill and Jim and Cameron and our friend Andrew, who was a brilliant writer and still is. He could write like the best lyrics, dude. And we would go to the studio, and the one thing about Jim, I love Jim. Actually, I bought these microphones off of Jim. These were Jim's microphones, which is precious.
They're great.
But Jim was definitely a chain smoker, and he would roll his own cigarettes, dude. So he would literally, like, we'd be in the studio recording, and he'd be like, all right, guys, you guys work on the song. I'm going to go smoke. And he would go chain smoke in the other room, and we would get a little sick of him smoking. And I was like, you know what? Hey, Jim, can I run Pro Tools? And that's when I kind of started to learn Pro Tools. But what was tough is I was learning Pro Tools on his setup, and he had this like touchscreen console that was like brand new at the time, the Steven Slate Raven. And I learned how to record on that, and I got decent at it. But then when I switched to just a computer without the Raven, I was like, how do you work Pro Tools? You know, it's the most complicated thing ever. But anyways, through that, I became kind of the engineer when Jim was smoking, and I loved it. And it was obvious that I loved it. And it was all I would do. And I would record in my basement, dude. My stepdad, Don, you know this, but to the world, he is the best, dude. And he built me the studio, put a window in. Yeah, literally an angel, bro. But he built me this studio in my mom's basement. I still don't know why my mom let me do it. Like, we literally built the walls, put a window in, and I had this. Still there? It's still there, bro.
No way.
The walls are still there. I think they might still be the same color that we painted them. And
dude, that's so funny.
Yeah, so if we move out of Fourth for any reason, you know, I'll just move back into my mom's basement. No, but so like I got really into it, and then I decided like, hey, I'm gonna go to college for this. OU had a pretty sick program. They had a Rupert Neve console that I still dream of being able to rock one day, and yeah, so I go to OU for music production. I'm like all in. That's the story, is how I got there. So keep telling the big part of my story here. But my freshman year, I get to OU, like I'm obsessed. And there's this awesome dude named Marcus Meston. And I just remember thinking this guy was like the bomb, bro. I was like, this guy is so cool. And I met him because OU had a student organization that was also a class called Brick City Records. And so before I even got to OU, I was like, dude, Brick City is like where it's at. I want to be a part of that. So I go to like their first thing, and Marcus and another guy named Zach Crandall, they're up there presenting all this stuff. And I was like, literally like in awe, dude. I was like, these guys are so cool. They're showing me the artists they were working with, the songs. I was like, this is sick. So I bugged Marcus. And I think back to this dude, Marcus was way too cool to hang out with a freshman in college and listen to what I was working on. Like, the stuff I was working on was horrible, and he was like, dude, this is sick. Marcus and I still talk. And dude, if I go to Nashville, I'm like, hey, Marcus, I'm coming. Let's hang. We'll grab coffee.
Did I meet him when we went down?
I don't think so. No, you might have met Theron, who is also amazing. But so Marcus was a key player for me, and we were working with Clubhouse one day, which, man, it makes me emotional just because of Clubhouse's story, which is too much to get into on this podcast. But Clubhouse was awesome. That's and cool. The lead singer, Max, was incredible. Super sweet guy. And Marcus was like, hey, dude, I know you really enjoy cutting drums, because me and my best friend Dennis at the time, he was a drummer. So I was obsessed with recording drums. I wanted to make drums sound good. And so Marcus invited me in to help with the drum session for Clubhouse. And I was like obsessed with it. I thought it was so cool. I was also like very intimidated and nervous to be in the room with these guys. And long story short, Marcus, like, for whatever reason, saw potential in me and was like super sweet to me, even though when I look back at it, I was pretty silly. And Marcus passed the baton to work with this guy named Frank, who is a lawyer in Athens. And this is how I met Frank. So end of my freshman year, I hit up Marcus. I'm like, hey, man, is there any tickets left for the showcase that Clubhouse was having with their artists? And he's like, yeah, dude. And actually, I need to talk to you about something. So if you come up, like, make sure to hit me up. We got to talk. Marcus tells me about Frank.
That's
introduces insane. Yeah, this is freshman year of college. And Marcus introduces me to Frank, like the little bit later. Himself. We meet at Frank's law office in Athens. And dude, Frank was like literally just a key component for my life, literally to this day. He is a key component in my life. But if we go back to like college, Frank gave me the opportunity to work on his music as a total idiot rookie. And I remember like I called Frank right before summer was over and was like, hey, Frank, like, how often are we going to work together and how much am I getting paid? Because if it's enough, I'm going to buy a brand new computer that we'll work on. And
That's
like,
awesome.
I look back at that, I'm like, I would be so annoyed if some kid called me and asked me like that. And he was like, here's what I'm thinking. He tells me, I was like, all right, man, well, I'm going to buy this Mac. And I literally, my sophomore year of college.
Isn't that one right there?
Yeah, it's that one. It's behind me.
I don't think you can see it.
Nah, you can't see it. But
That's
sophomore
crazy,
year of college, I go into the year, I just buy that Mac, and I bought a case for it, and I set up this rig so I could be like the best I could be with Frank, man. And it was really fun. And like my sophomore year of college, all of my room and board were on the old college loans, baby. So I didn't have to pay for anything. I saved up all of my money. I would work for Frank. I would pay for my computer. I paid it off in like 5 months. And then I was doing some other gigs too. Like I would work for Frank and then work with other guys around Athens and stuff, little things. But I just remember saving up all my money, dude. And I bought like these
insane.
414s, which are like, those were the mics that I wanted at the time. They're pretty iconic. These days, I barely touch them. I like other mics more now. But
You still have them?
I still have them, yeah.
Okay.
Dude, I don't sell anything. It's a problem.
Yeah, now that
So,
you're talking about it, you really don't.
yeah, and it's a
That's
you
cool,
know
though.
it's a double-edged thing. It's nice because like I have all this stuff that I can tell these stories about.
Yeah.
But it's also like, at what point is it time to let stuff go, right?
That's right.
But no, I mean the 414s are great mics. They're like a studio essential. If you're gonna have
Yeah.
a studio, you gotta have the 414s.
Yeah.
You know. So, anyways, Frank, I still work for Frank to this day. You know, and so the music thing is such a crucial part of who I am, crucial part of my journey.
Yeah.
And it is like an important piece as to what I want my future to look like. Right?
It's insane because I know people know that you love music, but I don't think they know, at least the general population that I know of here in town, know how deep it goes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because they know you own vinyl, which we'll get into in a minute, but they don't know
Yeah.
everything else, which is crazy.
Yeah. And honestly, sometimes I think I don't know. Like,
That's fair.
because we were literally, like, Chad and I were having a conversation just yesterday where I was like, do I hang it up? Like, literally, like, do I
Had to
just
walk
get rid
him
of
off
a
a
bunch of
cliff.
my equipment and, like, keep the guitars that I need to keep and ditch the guitars I don't need and, like, kind of pivot in terms of life? And even sitting here having this conversation, I'm like, dude, I can't lose that side of me. I can't lose
I think
that.
that's just the beauty of seasons, you know? It's like,
yeah. And the challenge of seasons.
Totally. Like before 101 was opened, you were in the studio a lot.
Yeah, probably 4 or 5 days a week.
And then ever since then, it's
Yeah.
how often do we go up the fourth? Maybe once a week?
Yeah, I had to pump the brakes and focus on the shop,
So-
you know. But it's crazy because, like, I look back and, like, my only job after my freshman year of freshman year of college, because my freshman year I was working at Chipotle, and then my only job since has been music, and then now vinyl too.
Yeah.
But I was like, I would work for Frank and I recorded for my friend Cole Powers and a couple other guys around town. And my friend Matt, he let me master his album and paid me to do it. And
That's
like,
awesome.
he could have mastered it himself, but the
People
dude's so
believe in you.
talented. But
I
man,
love
he
that.
like supported me back in those days. And I would work on just random projects around town in Athens. And man, Josh Antonuccio, one of the professors there, which he's got the coolest
What a
name.
name.
Dude.
That's a sick name.
I still aspire to be like Josh. Josh might be one of the 3 people at the table. Maybe.
Okay.
Even though I could get at a table with him probably. Maybe not. I don't know. I think Josh would sit with me again, you know. but I really looked up to Josh, and I still look up to Josh, and he's
That's
great.
awesome.
And like Josh was cool enough to hit me up summer after my sophomore year. I was back home working at Chipotle, and he was like, "Hey, dude, I've got this session coming up, and I could use an assistant." And so I assisted on Josh's record that summer. So I guess I lied. I worked at Chipotle for a summer again after my sophomore year. So
The
I did
same-
not
same
all
company.
music, but
Okay, so but then
Yeah,
you
yeah,
graduate
graduate college.
and you have a stint in Nashville.
No. So actually,
Oh.
Nashville, I interned in Nashville between my junior and senior year.
Okay.
And what's crazy is April of my junior year, literally my last like couple weeks of junior year. I'm going into this internship, and I tell my academic advisor, like, yeah, man, I got this internship with Will Pugh from Cartel. I'm stoked about it. It's at a studio called the Pentaveret with Bobby Holland. Like, and I love those guys, man. I miss the heck out of all these people, sick. Man. And even saying this out loud, it's like, dude, I need to reach out to these guys. I miss them, hit them up, bro. Bobby was awesome. Let me sit in on some cool sessions. One of them had Kyle Whalem there, who now leads the Kelly Clarkson band.
Really?
Leads the show. Yeah, he's like the music director for the Kelly Clarkson show. And Kyle was so cool. Down to earth, dude. Like, made me feel at home when he was the coolest person in the room. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah, you got to hit him up, bro.
Yeah, Kyle was sick. So if Kyle ever watches this, I love you, bro. You meant the world to me back in 2019. And awesome. Still to this day. But... yeah, so, and then I found out April, a couple weeks before my internship, that my internship could count as an entire semester.
Really?
15 credit hours for my internship.
That's
and I only had
crazy.
a couple classes that I needed to take to be able to graduate outside of needing additional credit hours. So I found out basically, I like sat down, looked at my DARs or whatever it is, and was like, bro, I can graduate next fall, a semester early. Because of that internship. So that was like...
So you just got paid, not paid, but you got to finish school and eat Baja Burrito for a semester.
Yeah, essentially. Well, and then I had one more semester back at OU.
Okay.
But yeah, ate a lot of Baja Burrito. So that was 2019. I lived in Nashville, and I moved there with some guys, and I love these guys. Still love them. One of them I haven't really talked to since that summer, unfortunately, but I still love them. That's and cool. We weren't seeing eye to eye, me and these guys. We were in different seasons. And so I would leave and spend all my time in coffee shops, like all my time. And I started to love coffee, dude. And so the Well Coffee House in, what's that part of town? I forget. The part of town I lived in starts with a B. Bellevue. The Well Coffee House in Bellevue was like literally life-saving for me when I lived in Nashville. And then, yeah, this summer. And so basically I found out like, it was super exciting. It's like, okay, I can graduate a semester early, dude. That's sick. Like one less semester at college. But then simultaneously is like, but also that's one less semester to figure things out.
Yeah.
So I finished this summer, no clue what I'm going to do, you know? I forget what your question was. I'm just going and going and going.
Just, it was something along the lines of bringing up Nashville.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have to take one more pause.
Yeah. So,
but on that third pause, when we come back,
okay,
we can go Nashville to...
Yeah, Nashville to where I am today. Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
So
Be right back.
We'll be back.
We're back.
So, Nashville.
Yep.
And I'm there for this summer. It's honestly sick, but simultaneously, I'm kind of like seeing, I guess, holes in the dream of being a music producer. And I was like, man. And that summer was so instrumental in so many ways. I was single at the time because of past mistakes, and it was just a different kind of summer. And I remember going to Church of the City for this young adults group that my friend Brad was like, dude, you should go to that. He was literally in town, and he was like, dude, you should leave me, not hang out with me, so you can go to this and connect. And at that young adults kind of get together at the church, the guy gave us these pieces of paper that were like, here's a ton of values, sort them in order, and look at that. And then asked us, like, are you living according to what you want your values to be?
That's cool.
And I did that, and I looked at it, and I was like, man, I don't know if I am, you know? And like family was up there for me. I was like, there's things that I kind of put to the side because I was chasing the music dream that I was like, you know, I realized like I care about that. Yeah. So that summer of Nashville was really important because one, I learned a lot about music production. Yep. I grew a lot. I worked with Bubba Sparks, the booty rocking everywhere. Yeah. Bubba Mathis is what I call him. He was so cool when he was Bubba Mathis. Bubba Sparks was a character, and I like it. And I miss that guy too. I'd love to see Bubba again. But but I do in that summer kind of going like, I don't know if this is what lines up with my values and what I really want. And like, so that is what led to where I am now, where I came home from Nashville for 2 weeks. I had 1 semester left at college, and I was like, what am I going to do with my life? This is coming quick. And in those 2 weeks that I was home, it was actually the space that's now my studio. I went up there and I was like, wait, what? Like, this is a cool space. What would it look like for me to start a studio up here? And then that's when the owners of the building were like, well, you could also rent the second floor and the third floor, which is where we are right now. And in my mind, I was like, dude, I could start a coffee shop in the second floor, put my studio in the fourth floor.
So it was going to be in here.
This space in this building inspired me. Yeah,
Wow, okay.
absolutely.
That's
And it
cool.
kind of made me think like, wow, there's like spaces and opportunity in Washington Courthouse. And there was a desperate need.
Yeah.
And we're going to get more into the story of vinyl in our next.
That's
No
the whole
Rewind.
next episode is all about vinyl.
But
Give us a short, like, synopsis to leave people on, like, a...
Yeah, and I think this covers a lot of, like, you can know me through hopefully everything we talked about now.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so then I finished my last semester of college obsessing over vinyl coffee. I actually realized like a second floor coffee shop doesn't make sense. It's probably not going to work. The stairs are a little too much. Like maybe if it was a straight shot, like one staircase, one door, and you're in. Okay, maybe. But it didn't work. So I ended up chasing this other space, blah, 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 blah. But I was fixed on this thing. And then 2021, we launched vinyl. So, and yeah, that was like, it really, I remember like I told Frank, I was like, dude, I'm going to open a coffee shop. Like, that's what I need to do. And
That's crazy.
And Frank was like, are you sure? You know, everybody,
I can see him saying
but
that.
you know, my parents were so supportive. They were like, yeah, this is what you need to do.
That's
It was
awesome.
like people, there were enough people around me that were like, all right, Branson,
Send it.
like that makes perfect sense. You
No
should do
rewind,
that.
baby.
No rewind. and honestly, like my faith played such a role because like that summer in Nashville was a faith journey too.
Yeah.
And I was just like pursuing like, what does God want me to do with my life? And not that it's always that simple, right?
Yeah.
And it changes, but I just felt like I could have a purpose here and make Washington Courthouse a place that I don't want to leave, which growing up, I wanted to leave and people around me wanted to leave. Like, and the reality is all of my friends except for one has left, you know?
Cool.
And so I was like, man, what does it look like to make Washington Courthouse a town and a community that people don't want to leave and don't want to escape their reality either, you know? And that's literally like why I'm here. And
That's
this
cool.
building that we're sitting in right now definitely inspired me to make some steps. So we're going to wrap things up here. We're going to talk more about vinyl in the next episode. And I am stoked to unpack that. The journey was cool. But if to sum up Branson just real quick, it's like music, very diverse childhood. My faith is everything to me. It really does shape so many decisions. And honestly, it needs to shape more decisions if I'm being real.
It's a case for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. And then Haley is a huge part of my life and my journey. And my family's incredible. And yeah, that's Branson, man. But Branson's silly, dude. He makes mistakes all the time. I've got a list of mistakes in my past, and it is what it is. But
Hey, the beauty of it, though, is that you're able to talk about it and not just hide it. You know, it's like you're so open about it and willing to just be like, yeah, I messed up.
Yeah.
But this is like how I've changed, and that's cool.
Change the story a little bit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was episode on Branson. The next episode is going to be still on Branson, but more so vinyl. So kind of leaving you guys on a cliffhanger.
yeah.
But the next episode is going to be great as well, just like this one. So
Yeah, I'm stoked. The story of vinyl is cool. And the thing that makes the story of vinyl like even cooler is that I'm honestly like 10% of it. It's like the story of vinyl.
That's cool. Yeah,
There were things that aligned that you couldn't convince me were not part of a bigger story.
Yeah.
And so it was
great.
a wild journey, and I'm stoked to talk about it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. We'll see you in the next episode.
Cheers, baby.
Thanks for watching. No rewind.